Right. After the Second World War, all the Chassidim who survived the war had moved and emigrated to the Asiatic part of Russia in the most unbelievable, difficult circumstances of deprivation. People went down like 10 good bones, people were starving, with typhoid, terrible machos. And you can imagine it was Simchas Torah, Tov Shin, Zayin Kinderman. People were starving, people were broken, they were penniless, people had lost families. But Chassidim being Chassidim, after the game, the Simchas Torah, one had to dance, one had to be freilich. And they completed all the Chabrein, 7 Hakofis. Great Simchas at the end of the Hakofis. Everyone like in a bit of a drunken stupor, and perhaps one became too many. They sat down, they went to recuperate, to refresh their koiches. And suddenly, Rabbi was like the most respected elder, like the Chazan, celebrating Chazan, with the Hashem. He told Chevra, let's make one more rikud, one more dance. Let's link arms like a choo-choo train, and we'll dance to the Rebbe in New York. They looked at him as if he's stark raving mad. You know? They're in Samarkand, in the middle of nowhere, in this forsaken place. The Rebbe is in New York, across a big ocean. We're going to make a choo-choo train and go to the Rebbe, like play games. Build some kind of pantomime. But some of them said that Kabbalah's all and they made the choo-choo train to the Rebbe, one final Hakofah. And others just laughed sarcastically with cynicism. And Rabbi Kazliner, very celebrated Rosh Chassid, he said an amazing observation that right afterwards there was an incredible window of opportunity given to Chassidim in Russia. In Lemberg, the Chassidim people who could claim the full paper that their Polish citizens were allowed to emigrate from Russia. And every last one of the Chassidim who joined arms to make the choo-choo train to the Rebbe left Russia like Gehenim on that year. And everyone who stayed behind with cynicism and calculated didn't move, they all ended up there for another 20 years in the Gehenim we know the Soviet Union was. So this Kislev is the time that the Rebbe gave us a promise that anyone who will be Mesameach in my simchas that I'll know, I will take him out. Min ha-meitzer el ha-merchel, or another girsa, min ha-gashmius el ha-ruchnius, or a third girsa, min ha-gehenim, and the Rebbe very often in Sichos explained, based on the Friediger Rebbe Sichos, that these three expressions refer to three different levels. The lowest level is from Asiyah, which is Eilam, the next level takes us out from Eilam HaYetzirah to Eilam HaBriyah, to Eilam HaBriyah, to Eilam HaTzilus. When it gets on the Rebbe's train, when it gets attached to it. And the Cholarosh, we attach ourselves to the importance, not only just the importance, the seminal importance, the essential importance of the I came across an interesting board. In the Drashah of the Chassidus, it wasn't a Chassid, it was a Talmud. Great Kabbalah. And he writes in the Drashah of the Azul. Pasuk says, Tilim, Ramalda, Kofvuda Basmelach in Nilo, we mishmet Tzayzov. Says the Chassidus that all of the Torah we know is a moshel. Everything in Torah Gosha has an equal and opposite corresponding counterpart in Ilma Nagash. So really, the world could be reckoned to be a mashal. You use things in the world as a mashal for Torah. And the Torah Hasan is a mashal to something much higher, something called a mashal HaKadmoim. So therefore, the Rabbi Melech, the Inzviris Yisrael could say that Torah is nechmod and nizov when we pass rough. There's a shaykhus between Torah HaKosha and gold, but Torah is greater value. Right? Says the Sefer that Pasuk says, Kol kvuda bas melech, where is the real kovod, the glory of Torah? Where's the essence of Torah? Dafka pnimi is Torah. How do I know? The fact that Mishpat Zov is used as a comparison to the error between Zov and Torah means that Nicholas of Torah is the Moshe. Pnimi is Torah, that's the Kedosh of Torah. That's the essence, that's the glory of Torah. And therefore, it's for my patient Taich, also be a car of a beautiful crack. The comma is in a place called Ksvuda Basnella Nima. Also be a car of a Yavin Nimshal, then give a hand. That's the word. A person, also be a car, the Yavin Nimshal. A horror in Torah, the fellow knows Babli and Shalmi, go on to the group. Although he only knows the chitzonius of Torah, the Nicholas of Torah, which are not chas v'sholem the mighty importance of Torah. Torah is full of Torah, Keim Chayenu. That's what we're here for. But if he only heard is in the nigla of Torah, without the pnimius of Torah, the trudish of Torah, the essence of Torah, he only knows the mashal, but he doesn't know the nimshal, then it's the hamish. This is not important. It's not important. It says in the Bir HaGro, the Dum Go, Mishlei, numerous places. But the Tal, numerous places. A person doesn't learn Pnimius HaTorah. It's impossible to go to Shleitzer, even Hilchasah, Taken Nimshal to Be'er Tidru, cannot possibly have two albums a year. The Chol Ketmer Torah, the Shmo. These are not personal observations. These are written by Rabbi Yosef. I remember I learned one Torah. And I had at the end of 4 years in the Zuz, I had a fork in the road, which way to go. So I decided to discuss it with Rosh Yeshiva, with all your shoulders at the time of the road. He told me a personal experience he had gone from America to Kletz to learn. And once then Azman, and he was in Varsha, and he met in Shimon Shkop. Yadua was the Skam Rosh Yeshiva in Lisbon. And they were talking. And Rav Shimon Shkop says, in theology, you could, theories are very easy. They say Jews have big noses because they're air is free. What is the Eden HaHuichet? What is the test for survival? When it comes to Varshis, hundreds and hundreds of books of Chassidus, at the end of the day, he was obvious, it's glaring. The Chassidus at the end of the day won the battle of Yiddishkeit. What? Rav Shimon Shkop says. The double ball. A person therefore has to put out Pnimius HaTorah Zakash. Especially this Manazah. And therefore, just for everybody here, we learn Tanya. We start, if the kids doesn't mark the beginning of learning Tanya. And the famous story, I'm sure you all heard it, there was a big Rav in Elizabeth, New Jersey, called Rav Tanya. And he's very, very involved, famously, in activities of the Soviet Church. Every time he would go to Russia, on one of these clandestine trips, get a call from the Rebbe's Maskiros to deliver things. Fine, no problem. The Chaver, was the large and his friend. Once he was going on a secret mission, and suddenly the Rebbe's secretary said to deliver whatever, and the Rebbe's secretary said he should bring 2 Tanyas with him. And it's a very famous story, and keep the Tanyas with him there at all times on his person. What, when, where? He doesn't mind bringing him still in the Zudas, but all of a sudden he'll have a Babincher like this. Okay, please do that. And he's walking down the street from Austin, from Petersburg, wherever. Someone grabs him from behind. They put a blindfold over his eyes and a gag over his mouth. And they stuff him in the boot of a car or something. And he gets, his heart begins to beat because, in Russia with the KGB. However, suddenly they take him out. After a long trip to an unknown destination, they take him out. They took up the blindfold, they took up the guys, a group of students. And they wanted to fabrate with him, they wanted to hear what's in America. It was like a silent meeting in those days. They had no idea we were cut off. They couldn't just invite him because in case he gets caught, in case he's interrogated. With other lives in jeopardy. So instead, what they did, they blindfolded him. Okay. We should have had like 5. So what did they do? And they put him to the place. So he said, the Chassidim asked him, what is the connection to the Rebbe? I mean, from Reagan, but you're a minor, a Sikh, whatever.
He said, the leaders connected from the Rebbe, some unknown reason. The Rebbe sent two Tanyas with him and told him to keep him on his person whenever he goes in Russia. They Pasha. Their faces lit up.
And they asked him, did they see the Tanya? And they saw the Tanya, and suddenly they noticed the Rebbe had made on one page, which was Achrid, Kuf Samach Beis, the Rebbe made a little indentation in the Tanya. And the fellow who took this Tanya he was told that the KGB is looking for him. We have to leave Moscow to go to a small shtep at Yavrazam. And he sees the opening line of the page that the Rebbe had dog ear, I think it's called in America, that the Rebbe had made a siman on, right? The Rebbe that said, it's pressing, he can't wait, he has to scrap, beat it. The second Chassid took the second Tanya, and he was debating in his mind whether to apply a game for a visa to go to Eretz Yisrael after having been rejected. And the Rebbe was reciting the Omud Lamed Ches in Tanya, the economic sports, to enter into the promised land. And they start opening the HaKodesh. But why am I telling you the stories about my own? You know, we're not interfering in itself. The pshat is that I'm a rabbi in a shul for my sins, right? And I would say, you know, my shul is a very for English shul. In England, most people who are not observant yet, right, but they're members of an Orthodox shul. So I deal with a lot of people who are very, very, very far from traditional observance. And I started a time this year, Shabbos morning, and there are a lot of very fine people who, I think it was a great scientist, Madame Curie. She once said, we hate people because we don't know them, and we don't know them because we hate them. People are very scared of the unknown. And last year we made a seal on Sefer Shel Beidim after many years of learning. Week after week, I don't know anything in text. We just read the Harun. Chassidus explains on this line. Eventually, we finished Sefer Shel Beidim after years. And at the scene, one of the gentlemen stood up, a powerful lawyer in town. And I said, Rabbi, I must tell you the truth. When you started the shir, I attended out of respect, but I planned on going for a week or two, and then to tell you this is not me. I had no idea. I thought this is totally beyond me. And he said, in the interim, he started learning. He went into the shir in order to, afterwards, to bail out. Suddenly he saw there's something fascinating here. Then he went online, whatever that may be, like a mouse or whatever. And he got in English, Rabbi Weinberg served Tanya, and then in science. And he said, learning Tanya, a simple man, like a very powerful lawyer, whatever, true, trustworthy person. Learning Tanya has saved my life. It's given me a different cook, a different perspective on everything in life. The famous story told many years ago. It was a Yid in Caracas, Venezuela. And he had the sole distribution rights for national Panasonic electric. It was not a Lubavitcher per se, he was close to the Rebbe. Every time he would travel overseas, which quite often he would write to the Rebbe, settle, ask them for a bracha so the chips would go up. One day he was traveling, he couldn't get a chiddush. The Rebbe's secretary suddenly tracked him down to Dumani in O'Hare Airport in Chicago. He's paged. He goes to the information booth. There's an urgent call for you. It's the Rebbe's secretary. I don't know why they tracked him down. They said, when you get to Japan, which is the central head office of Panasonic Electric, there'll be a package waiting for you. Can you do the Rebbe a favor and deliver the package? He gets here. Package is there. He opens it up. There are 2 titles. And he doesn't, no address, nowhere to bring it to. He just keeps it on his person in the mind. He finishes his official business. And in this city, I think it was Kobe in Japan, there happens to be a Jewish shul which was built in Chinese architecture. He thinks he has a day to kill before he goes back to Caracas. He goes visiting, and he walks into the shul, and he sees that Yidel is sitting there, and he's crying his eyes out. And they please be the Moshe. Makara, what happened? The guy said, you can help me, for a daigel Elisha, you can't share it with somebody. What's bothering me? You can't help me, nobody can help me, I'm doomed. Yeah. What happened? He says, years he's a traveling sales. That's his parnos. That's his job. Travels from country to country, buying, selling, whatever traveling sells. He was on a plane, and at takeoff, the plane caught on fire, and there was a terrible, terrible tragedy, and there were many people on this aircraft who perished in front of his eyes. He Baruch Hashem was safe. The next day he gets on a plane, and suddenly all of the images, and all the sounds, the shrieking, the people dying, burning alive on the land, was relived in his mind. He couldn't bear it. He had to get off the plane. And he's gone to psychiatrists, to therapists. He can't fly anymore. And his boss said, you know, I'm really sorry, but you can't be a traveling salesman if you can't travel. He's tried everything. Not a particular frumest of people, but a person, but not awful to get someone said, right over to the Rebbe. Okay, a drowning man clutches on straws, you rode to the Rebbe. And the Rebbe sent him a Tanya, and the Rebbe told him a certain chapter of Tanya to learn during takeoff. And all of these flashbacks of trauma will be taken away. And for years, he's been traveling, crisscrossing the globe with his little Tanya and reading the appropriate chapter the Rebbe had told him. Baruch Hashem, he made a wonderful parnos. Suddenly he finds himself out of Shvadyor in the middle of nowhere, Kobe, Japan. And somehow he misplaced his Tanya. And he went to the airport to get on the plane. And the flashback suddenly came back. And he had to get off. And he's going out of his mind. He's stuck here in the matrix with a church. And this Yidel from Caracas takes that from his attaché case. Here's the Tanya, the Rebbe has forgotten you, before l'chayim l'shon. And the story is like an omen on our generation. There's all kinds of ruchas hamenashis, all kinds of winds that are blowing. We're living in the most difficult times. There's a word that I hate to say this. So Lezer Ratschuk, Hashem Yikam once said, the Kabbalah from his father, who was Rechayim, that before Mashiach, 95% of Torah mitzvahs will be in the hands of the Samachim. Here? We're not talking about this friar people who don't know anything. Right? The Shulman Belzer said, in this generation, that Kirchen of like a minute. You ever tried to walk up horizontal wall? Very different. True endless of Pnimius, the Hashem said before Mashiach, is Sheker will be Chayin, Hevel will be Yoifi, everything is upside down. The Vilna called it a generation of Shitchis, superficiality. I remember I was a kid, I grew up in New York, I'm not really English structure. And I remember when I was a kid, growing up in New York, here on Cholamoy, there was a place called, doesn't exist anything, it's all of Ashnovel, called Palisades in Music Park. Anyone remember? No. But, okay. The Cholamoy always went, today you go to the zoo, I have a literacy stuff. In my days we went to Palisades in Music Park. So I remember I was a little kid, I don't want to be offensive to anyone, little kid. And I watched, there was a Syrian guy with all sorts of illusion, with the stammer, I would think they could. And his daughter was on the merry-go-round. A little girl, and she got a bit nervous, started crying, and she scared me all alone. And the father said, I'll go on with her, the whole horsey, before the carousel goes around, when lights start flashing and the music goes down. And then you could see like the bubble on top of this guy's head. He felt a bit inappropriate to be walking on the horsey of the carousel on the merry-go-round, bring a strong. It doesn't fit. So he took it off. But then he realized that the merry-go-round will start, you gotta hold on. So he took his triangle and he put on ropes. And suddenly the music started playing, and I'm watching the scene of this horse with the strong going around, and I'm just watching. And it always made an indelible impression upon me. It's a generation of terrible chitzonius. Chassidus is all learning. Chassidus is all about pnimis. Learning Chassidus is all about having emunah. I always say, you know what emunah is really? The ikar of emunah. The Chassidish of Tzach is talking in a row. V'hoyo kashiyorim loishes yodin v'govar yisrael. So Chazal say v'chiyodin to loishes yisbuchama shem yisbuchama. Eloim kol man sheyisol mistakim kapim. Everyone knows the mission. What's that? The Eibishter's name is what? Sheva Etzem Yud Kei Vav Kei. Right? He's Hoya, Hoyva, and Yir, Kech. The Hoya Kasher Yorim, what's the equal one of these three beginners? On Pesach, at 3 matzahs. Amun in the past, Amun in the present, Amun in the future. Which matzah do we break? Which matzah we use for Yachas, for Tikvus Yas Mitzrayim? Which is the real Lechem Oni? She'oyim will go to Arabic, the middle matzah. When Moshe removes the yud from the Shem Havayim, and you're left with the word Hoyva, I always say every year, I say that, every year I say that. Beautiful chapter, I always say. In Nagada we say, Yitchila Oivya Yizorah, we say, V'achshel Kervana Amokim Avidos. The Chassidus of Tzad, that's what the Yisrael says, After Yodaiti Kigonu Hashem Nikol Ekim. Says Rashi, Ma'akira Yisi, what do you mean after Yodaiti? Yisrael was a monotheist from way back when, a believer. After Yodaiti, says Rashi, Makiri Yisi L'Sha'ova. As a goy, I believe there's a Bashefer, there's a creator. But where is this creator? La'ova, in the past. The Eibishter created the world, and then he's working on some other project in a different dimension. He's taking the receiver of hope. Or someday, the Iker Emunah is to live with Emunah in the Hoyv. That's Pshat. V'achshav, now that the Rebbe had one word that he added, many words that he added into the lexicon of Chazan Yisrael. What is this now? Not Amun in the past or Amun in the future, but Amun in the present. That's kind of something for it. B'tchil, if your whole Yiddishkeit is something of the past, that's a symbol of the Oivdei Avizorah. V'achshav, now, it's alive, it's here and now. That's why the Zman HaGolos, we say Ki Yad Al Kis Yudkim. Hashem's name is only from the Yud and the K. From which you can make Hoya, you can make Yir. You can't make Hoya. Which is the reason for Mashiach, which is also for Chanukah famously, Mashiach, which is Galish, which is Chanukah, is Yimashi Hashem Melech Hashem Malach Hashem Yudkim. Mashiach comes when Emunah is something in the present. When you live with, how does one develop Emunah, how you mafarnus, how do you sustain Emunah? There's only one way known to mankind, and that's the Siddur. Siddur gives a person a different perspective on life. How should I tell you? If you live a superficial existence, you relate to the cursory, the superficial. If you learn Tzlimius HaTorah, you're able to relate into yourselves, into it. I'll give you a story. Happened here in Borough. I don't know if you've heard this story. I heard it mentioned this story. It was a funeral home somewhere in Borough. And then someone passed away. And then there's a Shmir, coming a mess. So this fellow was up a whole night making sure. You know, in the morning he had to drive the hearse, the funeral car, to the Beis Oila, which is New Jersey. My kids are after the whole making a whole night of shir and driving the hearse and participating in the mikvura, digging, whatever. The guy was so tired. So on the way back, the guy tells his chaver Beryl, you get behind the wheels, and I'll go to the back of the funeral car, the hearse, and I'll have a dremel, I'll have a shlach. I'm tired. Pulled to his mazel, it was a very chilly day. So he took the black shmati, he put the chmal of the orange, and he achraped his story, everything's funny. So Beryl was behind the wheel, driving, and Shmero and Yanko was schluffing, puffing, right? Everything was wonderful until they came to the toll booth of the George Washington Bridge. Beryl rolled down the window, he opened up his wallet, and he realized he didn't carry cash because he's not the usual driver. So this poor toll booth attendant, with his eyeballs bulging out of his eye sockets, sees the scene, the Beryl turns around and says, Yanko, no, I got Vinova, and over a $5, or $10, or whatever it is. And from the back of the funeral car, from under the black shmata, you see this hag coming out with $10. The guy saw it and shooting over it. He just ran away. He had a shira on, he had a nervous breakdown on the spot. He's out of it. He couldn't believe what he did. That's what happens when you look at the world with prejudice. You don't have the facts, you don't understand those Siddur is there to give a person a deeper perspective. I always tell it, I remember as a book in 770, the big road, the name of the Flame Aaron Chazan, exactly what you thought at my grandparents' house. You can imagine how old it is. He always told the story that when he first came to America, he was collecting money for the yeshivas in Russia. And there was the Kramer brothers, very well-known family in the annals of Chabad in America. And they had like one of the highest on the top of their office was like top of the Woolworth building, which at the time was the first skyscraper in the world. And the shtetl that he came by, the biggest house was like a double-story house, was like wow. Right? And somebody imagine if you're, anyone ever been to the top of the World Trade Center or whatever that, or table, if you look down, what do you see? Suddenly, you have a zap tie, and I got a zap tie, and some Shmer in Paris, people would say, but my price, that's $20. And you have that car, and you got a Lexus, and the place on the dashboard, you have a microwave oven, you do your toast in the morning, whatever. All the shmeitzlach, right? These little things. I once remember, as a little kid, I once saw a quotable quote. Superior people are involved with ideas, mediocre people are involved with things, talk about things, and inferior people think about other people. But other people don't see objects, right? So it all makes such a big difference. But if you pick yourself up and you're 100 stories above, you look down, it all fades into utter insignificance. You know what I'm saying? What does Siddur do? It picks you up, and you look at yourself, and you look at the world from a total. In the Yosef, but Rabbi, there was a Chazan called laser the Krum. Why would they call the Krum of the crooked one? You want to explain by a person naturally, according to the laws of physics, if I remember physics 101, you can see on a clear day maybe 20 miles, and then the laws of physics say the illusion is given as if the horizon suddenly bends. If you're on top of a lofty mountain, you can see 50 miles and then it bends. A person who's looking at things from a loftier perspective sees things that another person is he can't get his head around, doesn't understand it. But if you give him this new light, this kislev, the chayes, nafsheinu, you're able to look at the world. Let me just leave you with one story at the moment, which brings out this Nekudah. One of the great, earliest mashpiyim in the history of Rabbi, she was called Rabbi. And the Great once told the Rabbi Nishvasayim, and the Rabbi Nishvasayim enjoyed it. He really wrapped up. The Kosher Magi, one of the great tzaddikim, the Magi, the Rabbi, when it's about to leave this world, the Gashmis, he called over his son Rabbi, his successor, and he said like many tzaddikim, the Rebbe, and the Bidwa said it. He has no connection anymore to Gashmis or Olam. All he sees is the Barashem, the Chayim of the world, right? And he says he has no longer any shine to feel that the Gashmis, the Chubim, the corporeality, to the physical, to the mundane. So his son Rabbi Yisrael took his father's holy hand, according to Magid, and he said, Tate, I feel good. I feel a physical, human, corporeal, material body. To which the Kodesh of Magid responded, it's incredibly, we'll talk about it a bit later, an incredibly profound voice. As you taps with guf, feels the guf. As you taps with the shama, feels the neshama. If you touch something, you feel. The mechanism of feeling, of your sense, the sensory is through the physical. And what do you feel? What do you relate to? The physical. As you taps with the shama, if you use your neshama to feel, to sense, then you take a feel neshama. What does Siddur do? It lets us, the Siddur is called the Shemasa D'Oraisa, the neshama of Torah himself. So the Siddur is really the higher level of the neshama. It gives a yid the ability that when he looks at the world, when he feels the world, that kapnik neshama. And the Eibush is also talking that we should be zaycha, that it just gives us the time to strengthen our resolve that this coming year there should be a ribuy and echus and kamlas, both in quantity and quality. Today I'm going to tell you this, so that the world of Siddur Chabad Two things. On one hand, I pretty much have my finger on the pulse of different places in the world. The world, every chul today in the world, regardless of what, I don't care what kind of yarmulke or what kind of hat you wear or whatever, right? The Pnimi is every, standing right before Mashiach, the Mullah, or the Deis Hashem Kamayam Yom. The world is Sunday. There's a yearning, a thirsting, a longing. People are begging to hear Chassidus. In different emotions. The word of Chassidus is out there. People are really, people who know the truth especially, wanting to hear Chassidus. People are kalim to Chassidus today. And there's so much today which is available, which takes the deepest of deep. And it translates as an usia that we can understand. Like the English helps that we tap into it also. Chayim, chayim.